Okay, this is an intro to Spirit Connection, where we try to, or we do, go to graveyards and cemeteries, resting areas to speak with spirits that may not have been spoken to in a long time. I gained my interest in doing this stuff from a couple of other YouTubers, and I'm assuming I can mention their names. But one was Dalen Spratt, who is a one of the three Ghost brothers on cable television. Then there's another guy, C Fan, C as in cat, Fanns. He also does a spirit box. Um, it's interesting. I've watched all the videos from both of those guys, sometimes more than once. And Dalen is, and I don't know how to say this, he's black, and the other guy is white. Hopefully, I'm not offending anybody. But in any event, um, Dalen, it's interesting how some of the spirits picked up on how his his heritage or his color. Um, Interesting how they had mentioned that, um, and a lot of times, it wasn't. I think for malicious reasons. But in any event, I'm going to start this adventure starting tomorrow. Today is Sunday, December 31st. Tonight is New Year's. Tomorrow I still have off from my regular job. Um, and I'll go out to a graveyard and see if I can pick up some spirits. Um, from what I understand, the way this works is that you're not going to hear everything the first time around. I just went out today to Walmart and I bought a tablet. I think it was $140 or something, and a wireless speaker. And I was able to download the Sono X10 Spirit Box app. It's free of charge, and I believe that's what Dalen uses in that C fan. His name is Chris. Um, I think that's what they use. It's free. Um, I gave it a little test earlier. You can hear stuff coming through it. Um, when I listen to both of those YouTubers, there's some similarities or some consistencies I hear in the responses. Um, I can tell you a few of those right now. I hear I'm stuck. Um, and I know Chris has asked, and I think Dalen has asked too, what they mean by that. You're stuck where? You're stuck here on Earth. You're stuck in your coffin, which would be horrible, obviously. Um, a couple other things I hear is no, shut up. I've heard Satan's name a number of times, so he may be running around or flying around, whatever they do. Um, I've heard get in. That's another one. Get in. I've heard there's a line. I've heard waiting. I've heard upstairs or up. Um, these are a lot of things that the spirits say over and over again. Another thing they say is terrified. Um, help me. Help me is a big one. Uh, they seem to say that a lot. And then also, it's kind of interesting that Dalen and Chris, the two YouTubers I was describing earlier, get some consistent people that show up on these sessions. Not every time, but consistently. Both Dalen and Chris have Rosemary coming through, Mary Ellen, um, Shauna seems to be coming through, at least with on Dalen's end. I think maybe she's coming through on Chris's end. Um, the other spirit is, or they think they're spiritual guides or helpers. They seem to come and play when um, somebody at the graveyard needs help. Um, but Dalen and Chris, they don't seem to call these spirits. They just happen to show up consistently. And I know with Chris, there's been an Alan. Um, I thought there was another guy, but Dalen and Chris also have a Walter. Walter seems to show up. He seems to be a character. Uh, Adrian, I think that's more Dalen Spratt. What did I just say? Adrian. Adrian comes around once in a while. But it is kind of surprising. I mean, to me, that I was watching all these videos and studying them basically and listening to the responses and see how accurate they were. The spirits don't speak in this big, long, drawn out sentence. Sometimes they do, but a lot of times it's like yes or yep or yes, sir, or I might. Um, Things of that nature. But I've heard, sometimes they'll hold up their fingers and say, how many fingers do I have? And a lot of times the spirits will get it right, correct. Or they'll ask, what's on my shirt? Um, what color is it? And Chris has been doing a couple of unique things. I think he, was playing cards with the spirits, had played some music. That's the other thing. Spirits seem to say music a lot. Um, so maybe they haven't heard music in a long time and they'd really like to hear it. So maybe that's something we can explore. Um, so let's see if has any validity. I mean, I think the other thing you have to realize is that, um, this stuff is drawn out and you're not going to, I'm sure it's edited up to take out those long pauses in between the question and the answer. Sometimes they don't answer at all. They won't say anything in response. And then a lot of times they'll the other thing I wanted to say, take that out so you compress the video a little more, and you have to go back and listen with headphones to maybe pick up some stuff that you missed. You can hear some responses in real time, um, but I'm going to do just like Dalen does and just like Chris does. They go back and they edit the film or the video, and they'll listen on the headset, and they'll edit the video to include what they thought they heard. I mean, I've been listening to some of this stuff, and I think I hear sometimes more than what's put on there or what they edit into the video as far as any spirit sayings. Um, but wouldn't it be neat, or wouldn't it be comforting to know that, once we pass on from this life, that there's something else waiting for us that's not necessarily bad. Um, so that's my intro. Um, I also got an iPod, a tripod. I also got a tripod that I'm recording on right now. Um, I forgot how much that was. It was under $20. And then you record with your cell phone, if anybody else is interested. Um, just a couple of other things that, any negative comments, stuff like that is not going to be answered. Um, we're just trying to forward this thing, and it may be complete garbage. This may just be a word generator that, this thing comes up with words, but it's funny how, not funny, but interesting or unique in that some of these responses are in direct, some of these answers the spirits give are in direct response to a question. So yeah, and it seems like those spiritual guys, Rosemary, Mary Ellen, mostly. Walter tends to come around a lot for some reason. I don't know that he's helping anybody. It seems like people or spirits were afraid of him at first. I think maybe that's changing now, but um, that seemed to be the impression I got, and I think that's the impression Dalen got. And Chris, Walter shows up all the time with him too. So, how do these spirits know where to go? Uh, you know, or when the spirits need help? You know, uh, so we're going to ask some of the similar questions that they asked. I may try to expand on a little bit, but I think a lot of people have questions as to when you pass on, what happens? Where do we go? What does it look like? Am I the same person? How am I dressed? Can I meet other people? Can I hook up with my loved ones, my friends? Um, Seems like a lot of times these spirits, from what I observed, don't really remember when they died. They don't really know what the date is now, which is unusual in that other times, like if there's somebody jogging around the cemetery or walking a dog or there's a bird, the spirits will identify those things. Um, so it's interesting they don't know, from what I gather, what date it is. What the day is today, which today is New Year's Eve. Um, and the spirits do have, they do have a sense of humor too. They can. They'll say stuff like, "Oh, just messing with you," or they'll say, they'll deliberately say something they know it's not correct. Um, I had something on the tip of my tongue and I forgot it. Um, so, but there also seems to be, especially with, Chris has mentioned this more, but I think I've heard it on Dalen's broadcast as well, that there's somebody or some spirit that keeps saying no, no, or shut up. And I've heard Satan on there too a number of times. I mean, as far as either somebody saying his name, or seeing him or something, him or her. Um, so I don't know if there's things that the spirits are not supposed to talk about. I think, well, so, and the other thing I wanted to say too in closing is that a lot of the spirits will say that I like him or I like this, um, you know, and depending on when the spirits passed away, they may not know what a cell phone is or a tablet or these wireless boxes we're holding up to try to listen to what they're saying. Um, they may not know what that is. They may be afraid of it. So I think it's important to say, look, this is just a device that I use to try to hear what you're saying to me. And there seems to be a lot of chatter too in the spiritual world. There seems to be a lot of people. Uh, and a lot of times Chris or Dalen will say, well, how many people are here? How many spirits are here? And a lot of times, it's 4, 6, 8, 9, spirits at one time. Um, Not sure exactly how that all works, obviously, but um, there seems to be a connection. Um, so, anyways, we see what we can get. I mean, there's been questions like, what's your favorite food when you're living? Uh, what did you like to play? What kind of music did you like to listen to? So, let's see how this goes and let's see what we can pick up. But this is my intro to my new channel called Spirit Connection. And we'll see what kind of responses we get, if anything. I'm going to mess around with the spirit box. the app on my tablet that I just downloaded. I'll mess with that later, but that's charging up right now. A guy at Walmart said I should charge it up for 24 hours and I'd get better battery life out of it. Maybe I'll do that. I don't know. But tomorrow is New Year's Day, and we'll go out to one of the cemeteries and walk around a little bit. I'll identify the cemetery. That's what I'm going to do on my, I think that's what I'm going to do on my spirit box sessions, is I'll go out to the resting area and identify it, show any signs at the cemetery as far as name and all that, where it's located, and I'll take a panoramic shot of the area. I'm not too familiar with anything cemeteries, except there's one right here down the street from where I live in Clarence, New York, that I'm somewhat familiar with. But then unfortunately, my mother just passed away November 27th of this year, so just about a month ago. And we have her up on St. Adalbert's, Adalberts, St. Adalbert's Cemetery in Lancaster, New York, which is about 10 minutes away from here. She's in a mausoleum. I guess technically it's called a crypt because it's not inside, but it's well protected. Maybe we'll go out there and see if we can hear from anybody there. All right. So there's a new adventure for me. I'm 62 years old. I have a job, believe it or not. Um, so we'll see what happens. See you tomorrow.